Greetings, my fellow gamers. It is I, Wraith King, and welcome back to the Dark Kingdom. Today we're taking a look at Raid Shadow Legends yet again. Hey, whoa, wait a minute. This game is not rated M. Today we're looking at Raid Shadow Legends. Now, my fellow gamers, I understand that Raid Shadow Legends is the greatest game ever. It's the most wonderful, beautiful, epic game, epic graphics, epic this, epic that, epic 7. It is an amazing, wonderful game. So I wanted to come back to this again to see if it has held up at all or if it has changed at all in any way. So what I did was, I stuck around for the entire 270-day login just so I could claim the rewards. You see, I love you people. That's why I do these things. Because I love you. I do. So kick back, relax, take a load off in the Dark Kingdom, and let's take a look at this game yet again. Is this game as bad as it was before? And I think you would actually be surprised at what my opinion about this game really is. But before we dive into the deeper half of the gameplay, I think we should take a look at the thing that is driving people the craziest in this game, and that's the Gacha Summit. I have experienced much worse than this, so I cannot call this the most notorious Gacha Summit I have ever seen in a mobile game. It's actually one of the better ones. There's 4 different rarities in the crystals that you can obtain in the game that will allow you to get rare champions. Of course, the rarer the crystal. The most common is Mystery, then there's Ancient, and then there's Void, and of course the worst of the crystals, in my opinion, which is Sacred Shards. Sacred Shards are the rarest, and they are the shards you'll be most likely to get a legendary off of. But the problem about them is, there's only a 10% chance you'll even get a legendary character off of these shards. And with my Warframe RNG, you can only imagine how many legendary characters I've actually gotten off of those stupid shards. And since there's so dang few of them in the game, the drop chance is closer to a 1% or 5% like the other shards. And the amount of money they charge for these shards is more than robbery. I'd be okay with the massive price if they actually gave you more shards, but no. They only ever give you 1 sacred shard with these massive bundles that they always offer you. And they're always around $50. Some are around $100. There are a few cheaper ones that are around $20 to $30, but even with those, they barely give you any resources. They only ever give you 1 sacred shard. It's almost as if they believe you're going to get a legendary character off of that, when most of the time you never really do. It's a 10% drop chance. You could draw 100 of those crystals and never get a legendary character. RNG is called RNG for a reason. Random number generation. You never really know what it's going to pick for you. Sure, you could try to draw 100 of these and you might just get yourself a legendary, but you never really know if it will or won't. That's just how RNG works. Let me use an example. Destiny. There's a 10% drop chance of getting an exotic weapon after you complete this raid challenge. Now you can do this 3 times every week on each character. There's someone in the Destiny community who ran this raid 100 times and never got the exotic until the last run. Is this unfair and painful? Yes, this is how RNG works, I'm afraid. No matter how many dragons you slay, RNG will always be the same. I finished the raid on all 3 characters 1 week, and then the following week I did the same and got the exotic. RNG is cruel that way, and you shouldn't be charging people to rely on RNG, especially prices as high as $100. I'd pay $5 for a sacred shard. Why $5? Because it's RNG. I might as well be buying a lottery ticket. But alright, let's move on to the gameplay. The gameplay isn't as bad as what most people would make it out to be. It's actually one of the better mobile games I have played personally. Farming weapons is a part of pretty much every RPG game these days, and Raid Shadow Legends is no different. There are certain weapons and certain armor pieces that you can farm from playing through the campaign, or playing in dungeons, or in other game modes such as Faction Wars. Faction Wars allows you to grind for materials that allows you to craft specific sets of armor and weapons from the forge. And unlike the gacha, this isn't actually that bad. The drop rates are actually pretty decent, and I've found some pretty rare artifacts from grinding out materials for this through Faction Wars. So basically progression, a big chunk of it is based around getting really good equipment and leveling up that equipment. And leveling up that equipment is a pain because there's RNG behind that too. This is not cheap to do, and it makes the game feel greedy at times. They do give you some free silver rewards, so it's not horrible, but it's still pretty bad. But let's say you want to craft some gear. Well, you gotta go play some Faction Wars to get some very powerful materials so you can craft some very powerful gear, right? Well, if you have more of a certain faction and less of other factions, well, you're just going to have to wait patiently until the faction you have the most heroes with is available, and that could be days from now. And that's just another time gate. But you're welcome to try the other Faction Wars missions where you have less powerful characters. I mean, you might win them, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, this game has plenty of epic champions to give you, and they do give you quite a bit from daily rewards, weekly logins, and stuff like that, and I believe they give you a few free ones at the beginning of the game, and their drop rates are usually pretty high, so you will find a lot of them. And you can make a solid team out of just epic heroes. It's going to take a while, but it'll happen eventually. And that does make the gameplay a little bit easier for going through dungeons, especially the Faction Wars. I have a fair bit of undead characters, so I was able to play through the undead ones fairly quickly. Now, what if I told you, despite all of this game's flaws, it's actually a really decent game? No, really. I'm serious. Despite all of this game's flaws, its gameplay does make up for it. You'll have a lot of fun grinding for the materials in this game and making really cool equipment. And along the way, you will get legendary champions. The drop rate is low, yes, but there are events where they boost the drop rate. So instead of just spending all of your sacred shards right at the beginning like I did, you should save them up for whenever they have an event like that. Now, it's still not guaranteed that you get one of these legendary characters, but I found 2 of them over the course of the few months that I have been playing this game. And those heroes I found weren't even from sacred shards. I got all of them from sacred shards, which is the second rarity. The chances of this happening is still very small, it's around 2%, but it's better than 0.5% like some of these mobile games have the dignity to put drop rates at. You'll be surprised on how many legendaries you'll actually be able to pull from that summon alone. But remember to only use your ancient shards whenever the boost event is live, which is pretty much every week. I was able to get my legendary Lord Nipple Piercings from the ancient summons. Funny thing about Lord Nipple Piercings is he's actually one of the best characters in the game. So I got really lucky with him. But who's to say anyone else is going to get Lord Nipple Piercings? No, I'm not going to stop calling him that. Which is why I think we should all be able to select a faction at the beginning of the game, and with that faction we could get exclusive rewards from that faction. Not only does this idea make factions more prominent in the game, because right now they're pretty much nothing. They're meaningless. If you took away factions in this game, the character list would be no different. And the same goes for the story. It would have zero effect on it. But if we selected a faction, we would unlock hidden lore about those characters on the hero list. This way, the factions don't just look like an excuse for you guys to make more heroes. And yeah, that's what they're supposed to be in games like this. That's what factions are usually meant for. They're ways that creators of the game could make more heroes and make a variety of them, so the game lasts a whole lot longer. But you don't want it to be as obvious as it is right now. There is the faction wars, as I mentioned earlier, but if you completely removed the factions from the hero list in general, it wouldn't be any different. That game mode would still be the same. There should be some more meaning behind them. For example, my favorite faction, the Knights Revenant, could hate the Demon Spawn and could hate the Sacred Order because they're phantoms and wraiths and they don't really trust either good or evil. There's something balanced, something in between. But here's the one thing I believe the developers should add into the game, because it really does need it. I honestly didn't feel like playing this game all that much until I found Lord Nipple Piercing. So instead of having daily logins and rewards that are fixed legendary characters, perhaps you guys should give us a random legendary character in some way. And I know that might be asking for a lot, but hear me out, devs, this is something you're going to want to hear. Remember what I told you about selecting your faction at the beginning? After you complete the first campaign on easy mode, all 3 stars, you will get a random legendary from your selected faction. This way, players will actually have a means to keep playing the game. And right now, this game has a pretty darn bad reputation on the internet. It is notorious for being one of the most greedy mobile games, even though that's not entirely true. The popular opinion about this game is that it's bad, which isn't very true at all. This game isn't that bad. But if you want people to feel the same way I do right now, I think it's important that you give newer players and even older players the ability to select their faction and get that random legendary character from the selected faction after they complete the campaign on easy or normal difficulty. So devs, I hope you take my idea into consideration. But in the meantime, my fellow gamers, take it easy for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe so you too can be a part of the Dark Kingdom. And stay tuned for more gaming reviews and Let's Plays. Till then, take it easy for me, and please do have a blessed day. Bye.